It's Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio, and in any conversation of the greatest running backs of all time, Marshall Faulk is on that list. Also, I would point out, and I'm sure he kind of agrees, he also kind of changed the position. Like, the way we see Christian McCaffrey play on Sunday is kind of a mirror of how Marshall Faulk played, and he's here for a much bigger cause I want to get to shortly, but in the short term, the Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk joins us on the Doug Gottlieb Show. Is that fair? Like, when you and I grew up, the running back was what the quarterback is now, right? Your team was your running back.
Yep.
Right? But it was not as diverse a skill set as you had. Was that Mike Martz? Was that your partnership? Was that his belief? Or was that something that you kind of brought to the table? Take me through kind of how you evolved the position of running back.
Yeah, it was a little bit before Mike Martz, actually. The guy I have to give credit for it, too, was Ted Marshall-Broda. And Ted Marshall-Broda was he was the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. Oh. The four straight Super Bowls.
When they had the K-gun?
Yeah. So a lot of the things that I watched and a lot of the things that I did was things that Thurman Thomas did. And we kind of, because we didn't have the tight end at the time, he expounded my position with that. And then when I got with Mike Martz, this dude, how innovative he was and things he wanted to do was like, well, I've never done that before. Well, let's do it. You know?
Well, help me out, though. I was told that the two things that Martz did that other people didn't were, one, the routes were a different length than others. And then two, and then the big one was he thought the biggest mismatch on a football field was his running back versus a linebacker.
Right.
And everything else was all kind of window dressing to get that mismatch.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Exactly. So when I got to Mike, it expounded to understanding that if we came out in regular personnel, two backs, one tight end, two receivers, moving me out, and they then put a linebacker on me, whatever that was.
Yes.
It was just that dynamic. Every day in practice, I won that matchup.
Yeah.
So let's put it in the game. Every day in the game, I'm going to win that matchup. And then teams started putting DBs in the game, and then we, with the same people, we then take the fullback and we'd run a lead at that guy.
Right. Like if you put and in many ways, that's what basketball has copied the football model.
Yep.
Right? And for people who don't, like, let me try and explain this to you. Like, what you try and get, all the other movement they do in basketball, we talk about, ball and player movement. Really what you want to have is your most dynamic downhill player going against the five-man.
That's it.
Right? You want the biggest mismatch. And if you play small ball, now we try and beat you up inside, which is the same thing there.
That's it.
Right?
That's all you
Whereas
do.
if you're going to move a safety into the box, or if you're going to move a smaller linebacker, now we're going to run the football.
That's it. That's what you do. Literally, that's the game is. It's all about matchups. And when you understand matchups, you understand and you can dictate. You want to dictate coverage and you want to dictate scheme. You make them take something away.
So were you guys the greatest show on turf? You guys were the Warriors.
Yes.
And then people kind of copied the model.
Of course. Yeah, what Mike Martz did and how we did it, it became the standard for on offense. And here's what every team does now. We did it. You come out. You line up in the formation. They show you what they're going to line up in that. You shift to a different formation. They then show you what they would check to that. You run a motion, you got them. A defense can't. They will not make more than two calls. Once you do two things, they're stuck in whatever they're in. And once you understand what that is, now you can shift, motion, and you know what they're going to, and you call a play based on what you know they're going to.
Torrey didn't get into the Hall of Fame again.
I know.
Why?
It's hard. Here's the thing. When you look at, let's just say Andre Johnson is the receiver. Uh-huh. Can you say Torrey deserved to be in over Andre? You can't.
No.
They all deserve to be in.
Right. I guess, but there should be a pecking order, and he's been there longer. I think what hurts Torrey is three things. One, you guys had, kind of like San Francisco, an all-star team. You had Isaac Bruce. You had the best left tackle in the game. You got a Hall of Fame. So a little bit of it is like, are we really going to put them all in? Like, I would say yeah.
Yeah.
The other part is the numbers were obscene at the time, but don't look as obscene now because the game has changed so dramatically.
Right.
And then there's just the build-up, the backlog of wide receivers, and you're just like, all right, how do I...
That's the part I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because Torrey deserves to be in. Reggie Wayne deserves to be in. Like, you cannot deny that those guys deserve to be in, but I can't take anyone out. I can't say this guy doesn't deserve to be there because Andre Johnson, he put in work. It's not like there's a scrub. The guy went in. That it's not the case. But Torrey deserves to be in, without a doubt.
You know what's interesting is so many parts of your life would never happen today. Like, you would never get out of your hometown to come play at San Diego State.
Oh, no.
Ever. And then when you're at San Diego State, after your first year when you dominated college football, you would never stay there because somebody give you a bag of money and NIL, right? And even how people forget you played for the Colts. I forgot you played for the Colts.
Yeah.
It's like people forget Bettis was rookie of the year with the Rams,
yep.
right? And then he switches teams and you come to the Rams and the rest, and so many things. And then the longevity of your career, how you were able to, in terms of your contracts, like all that stuff wouldn't happen today.
No, it's just a different game, man. Everything is different because of the way things are. Going back, I mean, even just going back to high school like you did, LSU would not make the mistake that they made.
Well, it's not just LSU though, right?
I'm talking about hometown.
LSU wouldn't have, but again, they're like now, like
but
every
after me, the kids coming out of New Orleans that were from my high school or the high schools that weren't the Catholic high schools.
Yeah.
They're getting those kids now. They're like, oh no, he can play here because of the mistake they made with me.
Man, it's crazy. They just missed. How do you miss a guy right down the road?
It happens.
Was you were too small?
No, they wanted me to play defense, and I didn't want to play defense.
But no one else in the SEC?
No. They didn't. Sorry, check this out. I played in my high school All-Star game, and I won the MVP of that game as a defensive back. I caught 2 interceptions and returned one for a touchdown. So they had it right. They just didn't understand. I was better with the ball in my hand.
I think you were right. I think you won that argument.
So.
I think you won that argument. A lot of people talk about fighting drugs. You're trying to do something. How?
I'm not fighting it. I'm trying to educate people. If you educate people, you help them. Telling the kid, you have a kid, you say, don't do this. That's like telling them to do it.
Yes.
But if you educate them and you give them the information and the proper knowledge about what they're doing, because when they leave home, the streets they're going to be exposed to things, and you want them to make the best decision, and they can't make the best decision if they're not educated. So what we're doing is on drugfreeworld.org, we have educated kits, we have curriculum, we have anything that you want to know about. We have the information on it, so your experience, that first experience, isn't one that kill you, because fentanyl it's crazy, and not to mention, and I'm not telling people what to do, but marijuana is legal now, and microdosing is hot.
Sure.
Like psychedelics, there's all of these. It's being said it's great for you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying none of that is not true. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying educate yourself and make the best decision for you.
Obviously, it's a foundation for a drug-free world. Marshall Faulk joining us on the Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. How much of you do you see in Christian McCaffrey? A
lot. I mean, that literally what Kyle is doing with him and what he's done his whole career. I'm like the kid. Like it's like I'm watching myself play. That's literally how I feel. Like he does a lot of the things, like a lot of the decisions that he make. I'm like, I would have did the exact same thing.
Isn't it interesting? Like you guys he's a little smaller than you.
Yeah.
But other than that, right? And he kind of has trained himself to model you.
Yeah. No, listen, if you're going to be a back and you're his size, you have to play the game the way that we played it. And what I think the part that people don't really pay attention to, it's 2 things. When he runs the ball in between the tackles, how explosive he is.
Yeah.
He's falling forward. And the second thing is how dynamic he is with doing the little things when he's not getting the ball. That's the part that you pay attention to.
What's more unlikely, Kurt's story or Brock Purdy's story?
I think they're one and the same. They're a little bit of the same, and if he keeps it up, it becomes more of a Brady story. If he can continue, and here's what I'm gonna say, before I give him the flowers that we give Kurt, or we talk about what Brady is, he has to do something that Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't do, because Jimmy Garoppolo got him here.
Yeah.
He has to do something that Kaepernick couldn't do, because Kaepernick got him here. This team, they've been here before. This is not. I'm like, hey Purdy, they've been here before. So beat Patrick Mahomes, and we can celebrate you and revere you, but you got to go beat a dude, man. Patrick Mahomes, this is a real dude. You got to beat him.
Yeah, and Patrick Mahomes has learned to not beat himself as well. He's cut down on the mistakes. It's awesome to catch up with you.
Likewise, man.
Let's do it on a golf course real soon.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks so much for joining me.
All right, bro.